Hello and welcome. This will be a reading for Aries for August 2023. Welcome to the table, Aries. I have pre-shuffled the cards, but I will shuffle them again for you. I will be using a 10-card spread with 5 cards along the top row, 5 cards along the bottom row, and I'll be talking about each one of those cards as they come out, and then overlaying them with a second deck of cards. And again, I'll be talking about those cards as well. All right. It's been rather a powerful lot of energy in the past couple of months. So we'll see what the cards have got to say for you, Aries. And particularly the full moon recently been very, very strong. And I think it's probably had a big impact on a lot of people's lives. Okay, let's start the reading. Just square them up a little. Okay, the Star, beautiful. 7 of Pentacles, 9 of Cups, King of Wands, and the 9 of Swords. Knight of Cups in reverse, 5 of Cups in reverse, 5 of Wands in reverse, the 10 of Swords in reverse, and the 2 of Cups in reverse. Interesting. And on the bottom of the deck we have Judgment, also in reverse. Okay. The Star is telling me that you are in a very good place. You're in a good situation. You have the capacity to be at your best. You've received healing. You are receiving assistance from the cosmos, so your opportunities are there at the moment. You have the potential to become the person you really want to be. So that potential is there at the moment. So it's like you've got almost like a new beginning, and it's I'll hold this next to one another. So I've put the little stickers on the cards for nudity, so don't pay attention to those little stars. But she's at the pool. The goddess here is at the pool of water, and here's the water showing. So she's already stepped out of the water, and this is almost like your second chance. This is a chance to have a new beginning. So that's rather interesting there, because it's a call, and this is a call. It's sort of, you know, if you weren't happy with where you've been up until now, the cosmos is giving you a second chance. This is a call from the angels and archangels to fully express who you are, to come out of that water, to come out of that healing, to find that balance, and to open yourself up to who you really are. Okay, and that's hard to actually identify. Who am I? That's a really, you know, it's like the question I am. Well, who are you? This is the hard thing to answer. Sometimes we don't have an answer for who are you. You know, you talk sometimes about your job, you might talk about your partner, you might talk about your children, your home, where you live. Is that who you are? If you take yourself out of that situation, who are you now? So this can be a little bit of a time to ask yourself, who am I? Where am I going? Who do I want to be? Okay, Aries. Normally this card would be taking a little bit of a pause from what you've been doing to reevaluate. Again, this is asking you to reevaluate. It's in the reverse aspect, so I have a feeling that you're dissatisfied with what you've been doing. Normally, as you can see, when he's in that aspect, he's just leaning on his staff, having a little bit of a rest. But if you look at it this way, it's almost like, well, I've been looking at that, and there's a weight of money, or there's a weight of things that I've produced. I'm not too sure that I want to do that again. That's that question. What is, again, here is this pentacle between your feet. This is the one that is asking you, who are you? What are you going to do? Do you want to be this person? What do you want to do with your life? How much effort do you want to put in to what you're doing at the moment. So this is kind of, it's for me, it's leading on from the Judgment, the Star, and where you're putting your effort. And maybe you need to put more effort into who you are or what I am. Okay, rather than these external things where you've put your energy and effort. And maybe you've put your effort into other people and your work and your home and creating the kind of things that perhaps the sort of world that you wanted to live in. And I think the Judgment card is asking you to reflect on that. Is this who you really want to be? Is this really where you want to put your effort? Okay, you've got the Nine of Cups. So Nine of Cups has giving you the potential of a wish that you can fulfill and being very happy with that wish. So I think the opportunity is there. It's a little bit like the Star. I do feel like the cosmos is opening the door for you to be able to fulfill a wish. It requires this King of Wands energy, being mature, taking full command of everything that you have around you, to go forward and to kind of create the world that you want to live in, to be the kind of person that you want to be. To be not necessarily sedate, but to be wise, and to apply yourself to the things that you want to do. Okay, so he has that staff, and the staff is not leaning on that platform of his throne. The staff is already one step forward. So if he stands up, he's immediately ready to move forward. Okay, so it's that sort of energy of stopping and having a little bit of a think, because they are both sitting down, stopping and having a little bit of a think, which is what the Seven of Pentacles is doing. And where do you want to apply your energy in the future? Okay, now don't lose any sleep over it, because, that can give you anxiety. Sometimes these are questions you can ask yourself when you've got a little bit of a quiet time and have a little bit of a think about where it is you want to go. What is it you really want to do? What is it you hope to achieve in your life? Okay, and it's rather interesting, because if you look at this person here, he's sitting there with all the cups and all his wishes and dreams above him. He has a red hat on, which means he's thinking about it. He's also got red socks. So he's prepared to take that action. So it's talking about thinking and the potential to take action. He's not wearing a red robe, he's wearing white. So that is talking about the potential. So he has the potential to fill any one of these cups or all 9 of these cups. But it requires a little bit of thought and a little bit of careful attention before you take action. It just feels to me that this is all raw and new. She's naked. These people are naked in this card. So it's almost, being naked is like being reborn. So being reborn in a clean skin and being able to start a whole new life. But don't lose any sleep over it. This is not something to worry about. So don't get into your headspace and have sleepless nights about it. It's not required. You don't need to fit everything into a little compartment or a little box. You don't need to take immediate action. It's something for you to reflect upon. So this is more an ethereal kind of or something more, it's almost like a little bit of a dreamlike quality at the beginning here. So allowing yourself that space to actually pull yourself back from the earth and all your earthly tasks and just take a look at what it is you want to do, because we sometimes get so wrapped up in the things that we're doing, and we're so busy doing the things that we're doing, that we don't have time to have these little dreams about who we want to be. This is almost like following your North Star, following that dream. Now we have the Knight of Cups in reverse. In this case, I would warn against looking backwards, and warn against engaging in some past connection perhaps that has already been, because old connections may not bring you the kind of emotions that you are hoping for, because everybody has changed, everybody has moved on. Even if the connection is still solid with somebody from the past, I always think that if that connection had have been meant to continue into the future, it probably would have. So I'm a little bit inclined to recommend or suggest that you don't look too far backwards at an old connection. Don't dream about a connection that has already walked out of your life. Okay, and that's interesting because you've also got the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups is grief or sadness or sorrow or disappointment. But all of these are quite dark because, as you can see, he's wearing black. He's fully cloaked in the black. It overcomes you, overwhelms you, and becomes, it changes who you are. Whereas this person is completely naked and not covered in clothing, so nothing is defining who this person is except their inner light and their inner spirit. This person is overwhelmed with something. So that's also in the reverse, is that sense of being overwhelmed with grief or regret or remorse. Again, the waters are flowing through these cards. I think you need to just let that flow, let that emotion, recognize those emotions, recognize this remembrance of something past and something that may have been painful. This may have been grief. Allow that to flow, but don't necessarily reconnect with it, because I'm feeling that that is not meant for you to reconnect. I feel that you're meant to disconnect from this energy. Now, that may be a little bit of a struggle for you, okay? This is a bit of a struggle, not a big struggle. I think you might be wrestling with yourself a little bit about something. It's in the reverse. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. That's sort of like, I'm not quite sure what it is I want, sort of thing, and a little bit of practicing and sort of backwards and forwards. Oh, I think I'll go this way. No, I think I'll go that way. That's just being a little bit unsettled, a little bit of mental skirmish, I think. I don't feel that this is anything that you're actually going to experience in the external world. I feel it's more something in the your internal world. I'm feeling that this part is your internal world, and it's connected here with these thoughts. So I think the thoughts can bring you back into this internal world of being unsettled, having maybe some remorse or some regrets or some sadness, but don't go there for too long. This is coming to an end. It's painful. Whatever it's been painful for you. And I think very much, see, it's talking about an ending here. This is where this part of you is finished. This part of you needs to go into this judgment, this reawakening, and the renewal of yourself. And to follow your dreams maybe a little bit more. To follow what makes you feel good a little bit more. Because this has got a lot of water on it, and she's trying to balance the water. So how do you feel about something? Try not to be too much in your head about this situation, because being in your head is not necessarily being always logical and analytical doesn't always make you feel happy. Sometimes it brings you into a state of disquiet, because there is that other side of our personality that wants to follow our dreams, wants to follow our emotions, and it's not always very logical. But you are entitled to reevaluate and think about that, because that's what this judgment call is all about. It's in the reverse, and perhaps you've been slow to respond to that judgment call, and that is probably part of this portal, this Lionsgate portal that has just opened up recently, and that it's asking us all to kind of reevaluate where we are and where we want to go in the future. I think this is very much a time of change. I think the preceding years of COVID have been the squeeze and putting pressure on us to kind of look at the things that don't make us happy, and to look at the future of what we really would like to do and where we really would like to be and who we'd like to be from inside ourselves. And I think this opportunity, this Lionsgate portal, is this little bit of an opportunity for us to kind of, drop our baggage and our luggage and go, well, I'm actually not going in that direction anymore. I've bought the plane ticket, but I've decided to go somewhere else. This luggage is no good to me anymore. It's all full of winter clothes, and I'm going somewhere where it's going to be summer. So you leave the luggage behind and you take a new journey. That doesn't mean you need to do anything as radical as that. It's just the call. And I don't think you've been listening to that call. This is the inner call. And I think you need to listen to that inner voice within you and reassess everything, because you don't want to be in this dark place. You don't want to be looking backwards. You don't want this internal struggle. I think that period is over. I think something is long dead and over, and I think you need to move away from it. And here we've got this Two of Cups. So the Two of Cups is a lovely energy of mutual cooperation, mutual respect, mutual love, mutual sharing. Now that can be just with yourself. It's finding that balance between, sometimes you're not happy. You might be busy going to work and raising a family, and part of you says, what about me? I'm really not that happy. I'm never expressing myself in my fullest capacity. So this whole reading may be just about looking at who you are and how you're able to express yourself. Is there room in your life for you? Is there room in your life for your dreams? Maybe this is not the time, but perhaps you need to explore those dreams a little bit more fully and ask yourself, really, who am I? And how would I like to express myself in the world? So I think this call is this set of cards is really a little bit strange, or maybe it's the way I'm reading it, but this is what I'm feeling from the cards, which is what each reader does, of course. But you have the potential here to be very, very happy. But I do think you need to look at where you've been putting your effort. So I think perhaps where you've been putting your efforts up until now maybe is not giving you the kind of satisfaction that you want. All right, so you know this you need to be mature about something here. You need to think carefully. Kings don't make rash decisions. They're practiced, they're experienced, and they're worldly, and they know what they're doing. So I think you've got to be careful to make sure you know what you're doing before you make any rash decisions that put you into a state of constant anxiety, because that's not healthy for you either. But I do think you need to be very careful that you don't let these past worries and troubles and sadness, past relationships that haven't worked out or that didn't stay the course or that are not current, I think, you use those as the foundation for which you can slide forward rather than slipping back into it and sliding backwards. If you use these like a railway track where you can go either way, make sure you slide forward, because sliding forward is what we need to do. Okay, I might use these cards. So I think I've shuffled all the decks of cards on the table, but I will use these ones today. Oh, I've left some behind. It's the absent-minded professor here, leaving half the deck on the table. Won't do, will it? Okay, let's clarify these. So the star is clarified by the moon in reverse. Okay, that's exactly what I was talking about before when I talked about the moon energy being revealing the parts of your life and shining light into the parts of your life that are not really fulfilling you. So there's that moon there. I'll keep going because that's rather interesting. Here we've got the High Priestess, the Lovers, the Tower, the Hanged Man, Tower in reverse and the Lovers in reverse, King of Cups in reverse, the Tower in reverse. Oh, sorry, the World. I don't know why I called that the Tower. It's interesting that I called it the Tower, and so you got the World and the Tower. Okay, so something is changing very drastically around you. Six of Pentacles. Okay, you've got some very, very big cards here. Seven of Swords and the Queen of Swords. And what have we got on the bottom? Nine of Wands. Okay. So Nine of Wands, I'll talk about this one first because this one's grabbed my attention. The Nine of Wands, the sun is going down. You've been battling and working hard on something and you're waiting for it to finish. It's got white flowers on it. I think the white flowers are saying to you that what you've been battling and working on and you're fatigued from is not producing the colourful garden that you thought it would do. It's creating a new blank slate. So I do feel very much I'm getting that. You've been battling and you're a bit tired. But I do feel that something new is coming towards you. You may not even finish this battle. You know, the ten of swords and the 10 of wands are the completion of like the 10 of wands in this case would be the completion of this heavy burden and responsibilities and what you've been working on. And you may get to the point where you don't feel like it's worth it because you want that new set of flowers on the top. You just decide, okay, I've had enough of working on that project. I may, it's often encouraging you to finish that part of the project that you're working on, this card here, the 9 of Wands, but and it's taking one final swing at it, and then you want to start something new, or you decide to take something new. You find those flowers at the top of the wand so enticing that you decide to follow that. Now the moon, as I said, this moon is very much a card of illusion and needing to find that way through the dark, and that can be found through the darkness of your mind. It can also be through the darkness of your everyday life. She's wearing the keys. Can you see she's wearing keys around her belt? So that is telling me that she has the keys of knowledge. So they're the keys of knowledge and wisdom and opportunity. They're also the keys that unlock the doors for the path that you take. Every path has a little lock and a little key to go through before you unlock that door to follow that new path. And that's that mental confusion that comes before we turn that lock. We actually make a mental decision to turn the lock. So it's kind of like she's got a whole bunch of keys here you've been thinking about or been asked to think about, and maybe you've refused to think about the things that you want to dream about and make you happy. Because this, again, the cards are calling you and saying, where have you been putting your effort? How long are you going to keep going at this? Is it making you happy? Is this worth the struggle? Because you've got the 7 of Pentacles and the 9 of Wands. So it feels like you've been having a long, protracted journey at doing something that perhaps is not fulfilling you anymore. The High Priestess. Okay. Now, the High Priestess is going somewhere cloistered. She is thinking by herself. She takes some time out and she goes somewhere to think. Again, you can see the moon there at the bottom. So this is sort of retreating into yourself, retreating into the darkness. She's holding the scrolls of literature. There can be spiritual teachings, so perhaps you need to retreat into what is important to you spiritually. And she's holding lavender. So lavender is about healing and cleansing. So this may be calling you to have a period of healing and cleansing, maybe a couple of days out, just so that you can find your mind. There are pomegranates on the trees behind her. They're the seeds of potential. Fruits of your labour. She's sitting between the pillars, so she's finding her balance between her labours and her efforts. Is she ready to harvest these fruits, or does she want to plant the seeds and start a new journey? So there's quite a lot of energy here of asking you to go into this white space. It's like judgment going into the white clouds, the white stars here, the moon, the white energy rather than that golden or revealing energy, to pull back and to have a look about your inner self, your inner light, what makes you shine and what makes you happy. Here is the Lovers, and again you've got the moon here in the background. This is that meshing. I think here in this case, this particular card too is very strongly speaking about not being able to mesh your subconscious with your conscious mind. Because the Lovers isn't always about two people. It is often about the meshing of your spiritual mind and your spiritual energy with your physical energy. Perhaps you're not allowing enough time for your spiritual energy to express itself. And that's very much what I'm getting from this reading. Is like your spiritual energy you're pushing it down rather than allowing it to grow. And I think the cards here are asking you, there's so many references to this white light, asking you to look at that spiritual energy, what it is that is pure, that makes you want to go forward and to be the person that you want. The World here, the World card is a lovely card. it normally talks about the end of a cycle. And again, it often says that you're getting the very best out of that cycle of life that you could possibly have hoped to achieve. So it's in slightly the reverse. It's in the reverse aspect. So perhaps you have, the cycle may be coming to an end, and perhaps it's one of these areas that maybe you didn't complete completely. So this is your mind area. This is your physical, your physical, on the physical world. You've got your emotional world. You've got your spiritual world. Are there any aspects of the journey that you've just been through or recently been through that doesn't feel completely fulfilled? Because it does look like you're coming to the end of this journey, but perhaps you haven't fulfilled everything that you could have done, rather than should have done. There's no word should have done, but maybe you would have liked to get a little bit more out of that cycle. Now, the hangman is in reverse. So where the hangman is normally taking time to reflect and pause about something and to think about what he's done. Again, I don't think you've taken that time to reflect and pause. I think you have just kept moving. This is talking, this card is often about stability. Perhaps you're frightened of losing your stable way of life. Perhaps, and it's on top of this fear card, so I think perhaps you're a little bit fearful of your security, perhaps, and a little bit fearful of rocking the boat, perhaps a little bit fearful of unchaining yourself from whatever it is you're chained to and whatever you're tied to. I think there's a little bit of element of fear attached to this, maybe letting yourself go a little bit. Okay, got the King of Cups. It's interesting, it's on top of the Knight of Cups. So the King of Cups can weather a lot of storms. So whether you've been through a lot of emotional storms, I'm not sure. Whether this is tied to something past again. I'm feeling that there's an element of something that wasn't emotionally fulfilling here. Whatever this is, it has not lived up to your expectations, and that could be a marriage or a relationship. Did not live up to your full expectations. It didn't quite turn out to be everything that you'd hoped and wished it would be. So I'm suggesting here that this emotional side of things, perhaps you've repressed that or you haven't acknowledged it. Maybe you haven't looked at it fully, or maybe you haven't put it behind you fully. I'm not sure. There's the Tower. So the Tower is the moment, perhaps, when you go inside yourself. This is what scares us, you see. This is the part that makes us fearful. We're fearful of the Tower moment. The Tower moment comes regardless. Eventually, either you look at yourself and you recognize the bits that are making the parts of yourself, or the parts of the way you're living your life, or the people you're connected with, or the job that you're doing, or where you live, any one of those things, which is not really matching what your North Star is trying to guide you towards, or what your driving inner passion that is not being expressed would really like to go towards. Once you go into this High Priestess energy here of, looking deep inside yourself, you recognize what that is. That's the judgment call that you maybe didn't take. That's the moon phase where you didn't want to look at what was being shown to you. And eventually it comes anyway. This Tower moment comes whether you like it or not. And it's in the reverse aspect here. So I'd say that you're going to wait until you are pushed off this Tower, rather than... Sometimes you can sidestep the whole Tower moment by recognizing at the last moment that this is not something you're happy with. Your life is just not making you happy. It's just not what I really want to do. And you get so frustrated that you almost feel like you're going to explode. Well, this is almost the explosion. This is where you just explode. So I can't do it anymore. I just can't do it anymore. And that moment will come regardless. It comes whether you resist. So I do feel there's some resistance here. Whether you resist or not, the crown will be blown off the tower. It's a round circle on a square tower, so it just doesn't fit anymore. And this is the Six of Pentacles, so measuring it up and finding the balance. And you've got this little bit of a struggle card here, the Five of Wands, so this mental struggle. But it does look like this is in the upright position, so you do find that balance. Once this tower moment's over, you find that balance again, and you put your energy into something that does give you perhaps slightly less money, because that's the Seven of Pentacles and this is the Six, but something that makes you happy. Something that makes you feel creative, that allows you to live more in the flow. So this is a card about living in the flow, being grateful for what you've got, enjoying what you've got, and enjoying what you're doing. Got the Seven of Swords in reverse. So that's rather an interesting thing, because you've come to the end anyway. So the maybe this is the denial of the pain that something is causing you that you haven't quite recognized. And in this case, I feel normally this would be a trickster or the betrayal card. And in this case, I feel that you will be betraying yourself if you aren't honest with yourself. You need to be honest with yourself. And here is this moment where you get this mental clarity, where these are the little lies we tell ourselves, and we all do it. I'm not being judgmental here. We all tell ourselves a little while, I love this job because it makes me so happy, because I'm paid so well and I have so much responsibility, where in fact the responsibility might weigh you down. And okay, they pay you well, but your boss just drives you crazy, or the responsibility is just too much. They're the little lies we tell ourselves sometimes, because, and if you have a look at these swords, if you have a look at the little swords, they have a little pentacle on the handle. So the little lies we tell ourselves about life and our reality. And here is the Queen of Swords. And as you can see, she's holding lavender. She's got the sword in the upright position. She's totally relaxed. Her mind is completely clear. She's got the healing and clarity that she needs. So Aries, I do think you're going to go through a little patch of toughness. And here also I might point out, if you take a little look at that spark of light, that little fairy, that's this star, that's this beautiful star. And that's where you're going to come out. So I think your inner light is going to shine. I think you're going to find the mental clarity. I think you're going to find what it is that you really want to do. I think you're going to find a way of expressing yourself fully. I think you're going to leave this emotional dross behind you. I think you will choose to leave this sadness, this grief and this emotion and these little bit of anxieties and worries, and I think you will slide forward. I think you'll find that clean space. And again, she's wearing a crown. She has a new crown on her head because the old one has been blown right off. Okay, she has a new crown. She's under no illusions here. She's in beautiful clean air. And you will know your mind, you will speak your mind, and you will have healing as well. And she's fully ready to go on. She's at the top of her mountain, and she has enlightenment with her here as well, as you can see. So, that's the lovely, lovely energy of being clear and fresh and new. And that's that wonderful openness that perspective that you get from the top of the mountain. And then you can see such a long way. So that's a wonderful energy. So far this reading, although it sounded a little bit dark, I don't think it really is dark. I think these are, and I think all of us have gone through, since COVID, I think we've all gone through periods of this very dark analytical energy that we need to make. I think the world is challenging us and squeezing us and asking us to review what it is we really want, because time is precious in its own way, because if you're not doing what's making you happy, then you don't have the kind of perspective that you need. You don't have that clarity of mind. You aren't breathing the fresh air. I think we need to review every so often, and I think that's when the world has probably asked us to take a good long look at what we're doing. And I think COVID has given us that. Okay, 2 have come out. So the first one is compassion. Okay, be gentle on yourself. So compassion is as much as, and again, I'm not being judgmental because I'm very hard on myself too. Don't be too hard on yourself. I'm inclined to be hard on myself and judgmental of why wasn't I more attuned to myself? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Don't be hard on yourself. Treat yourself like the small person rather than the big person. Under the light of the moon, you will remember to dream. You'll remember to be the kind of person that you want to be. And we don't always need to be adult. Allowing ourselves to dream allows us to expand our world and have that little bit of magic in our world. And that little bit of magic can be found, but you need to sometimes be very gentle on yourself and allow yourself to be that little child. I'll have a look at this one. This didn't turn over, but I'll still take a look at it. Okay, celestial. So celestial, again, is that little lovely, lovely star. Being celestial, being the star, following your North Star, following that little magic fairy. Again, this is all a little bit whimsical and a little bit magical, but I do feel that maybe that is what these cards are asking you to be. I think they're asking you to be compassionate and gentle on yourself, to look at that inner child within yourself that maybe hasn't had enough fun, hasn't had enough happiness, has had too much responsibility and too much work to do, and ask yourself, how can I allow this little celestial being within me to express itself? I'm going to leave it there, Aries. I do hope that you find your little inner celestial being and allow that to shine. Make room for that person, because it's very vital that we recognise that we do have an inner star within us. Bye for now. See you next time.